7, and we got more lines we love. You got to bet with us if you hit last week. Welcome to Two-Way Takes.
We're good. Sorry, our video kind of delayed here, but we're good to go.
What do you mean? We're good?
Yeah, we're live.
Like we're live?
Yeah. Yep.
The intro video already played?
Intro video played, yep.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, welcome everybody to Two-Way Takes. Appreciate you guys all tuning in here. Episode number 14. Episode 14 here of TWT. Coming to you guys, we're going to talk a little hoops today. Going to talk a little NFL. We're going to run back some lines that we love. For those of you who bet with us last week, sure you made some money. Our tease of the week, 3-team tease of the week was a hit. But we're going to kick things off with the NBA tipping off on Tuesday and last night. Opening night reactions. Right out the gate. Was very much looking forward to this season. A lot of different moving pieces, both in the East and the West. Tons of different storylines, both on and off the court. Lots to love, lots to be excited about. Going to kick things off. Put a little handful of nuggets together. Little opening night reactions, so to speak here. So just going to run right into it. First and foremost, right out the gate, LaMelo Ball is the real deal. I'm going to say it right now. LaMelo Ball, the real deal. 11 for 23 from the field, 7 for 9 from 3. Had a magnificent game. Excellent second half. The kid legit looks like he worked on his defense. Looks like he worked on his shooting. All around, his game just looks like it continues to be polished. It really is. It's tough, man. It's tough not to like what you see out of this kid on the floor. There's an exceptional pass he had to Miles Bridges the other night. He really is looking like he's coming into his own. Might need a little assistance on the fashion side of things. I don't know if anyone caught the outfit that he rolled up into opening night with the matching Porsche and whatnot. That's a whole nother story. But LaMelo, man, just a very, very exciting talent to watch. It's borderline must watch. If you have NBA League Pass, you kind of have to flick through and watch when he's on. He really is the real deal. Very excited to see him throughout the course of the season. I know it's only a game in, but given what we saw last year, even before he hurt his wrist and when he came back, I think he's going to be a really exciting player to watch this year, and a guy that he could cause a little bit of a stir with Charlotte. So Charlotte doesn't have no pushover team, so he's definitely one to watch. Number 2 on the opening night reactions, Golden State is going to be a thorn in the entire Western Conference's side. It's going to be an absolute thorn in the side. Just look at it like this, okay? Opening up against the Lakers, who we will get to in a second, you had an off night for Steph Curry, but still enough of a supporting cast. All right, Curry has an off shooting night. You still have Wiggy, Poole. Draymond's got leadership and great defensive ability still on the floor. Even Bjelica and Iguodala coming off the bench. Plus, you have Klay Thompson coming back. He's back to full practices and whatnot. That team is going to be a problem. That team is going to be an absolute problem in the West. I'm not saying that they're going to be a top 1 or 2 seed. What I'm saying though is they will be a problem. They're going to be a thorn in everyone's side. Okay, it's once you get Klay back, right? Even if you get Klay Thompson back, once he rehabs his injury and once he's getting, say 25, 30 minutes a night and they're building him back up to close to 40 minutes a night, if he's even 80 to 85% of himself playing with Curry, if Wiseman develops a little more, I know we're saying, a couple ifs early on, but Wiggins has shown that he can thrive in that system. Jordan Poole is developing into a very, very nice little combo guard of sorts. And then you have a guy like Iguodala there still who can just come off the bench, be a role player. Draymond's still there who can kind of like facilitate the defense and keep everybody in check. It's a team that even if they're a 5 or a 6 seed, or even if they're a playing game team or whatever the case may be, it's not a team you want to run into, man. I don't want to run into Klay Thompson and Steph Curry come playoff time. I think that's a scary team. I think it's a team that is not crazy to think they could finish a top 3 or 4 seed. Coming out of the West, that's a feisty team. And they look good. I mean, they came back, stormed back against the Lakers, took the dub on opening night. Definitely a team to watch there. Number 3, reaction. Giannis is going to win the MVP this year. He's going to win the MVP this year. 32, 14, and 7 with a plus 25. He chucked up 4 threes, only hit 1. He was 1 for 4 from 3. But the deadliest thing that we talked about before the season ended last year, before the NBA Finals, we talked about it through the playoffs on some earlier episodes of the pod. The one thing that Giannis was missing to really just complete this masterpiece body of work, and granted it's only been 1 game, but God help the Eastern Conference if this trend carries. He just needed a little bit of a jump shot and a little bit of a perimeter game. And he sort of teased us with that the other night against Brooklyn. He teased it a little bit. He wasn't afraid to let him fly from 3. God forbid, if this man starts chucking, even if he shoots like 32 to 33% from 3 and just makes it a threat where then he can dribble drive, you know what I mean? Like if he spots up, pumps from 3, and you have to respect it, and then he's driving and Euro stepping on your ass through the lane, that is a problem. It's wild. He's a perennial MVP candidate before twisting that little bit into his arsenal. If, granted, it's only a 1-game sample size, it's the early night reactions from opening night. If he adds that into his arsenal, if he's developed a little bit of a jumper, it looks like he's worked on it, and a little bit of a perimeter game, he's a clear-cut MVP. He's the clear-cut MVP in my book. So we're going to leave it at that. Number 4, opening night reaction. The Lakers are old. They're so old, and it sucks to say. It's not even like, and that shouldn't be construed with that they're bad. They are not bad. I'll still take LeBron James on my team at 36, 37 years old, whatever he is. But man, it's tough. I mean, Russ is not a guy who that trade still seems so confusing to me when they brought in Westbrook. Like, if you're running an NBA 2K franchise, then yeah, that's all fun and games. You brought in Russell Westbrook, to come play with LeBron James. Like, that's cool. They still got DeAndre. It's really tough to watch that team. And granted, maybe they do gel, maybe they come together a little more. It's tough to see how Russ is going to fit in, because Russ, even when he was with Houston, he's the type of player who absolutely, he's a ball-dominant player. To get the best out of him, to get the best of what he can do and create his own shot and facilitate and whatnot, like, he needs to be ball-dominant. And we know LeBron's not giving up the ball. LeBron's going to touch the ball every possession. So I feel like it's almost a little bit counterproductive there. And it's just, they just look old. You could see it towards the end of the game, like LeBron's not at a state in his career anymore where he's going 100% on defense like he's taking possessions off. Yeah, it's just it is what it is at this point. The wear and tear of this many games over this many seasons, playing deep into the playoffs so many times throughout his career. You can tell, like, he physically cannot give 100% and go balls to the wall in every single possession. And Russ has never been 100% on D possession guy anyway, for a lot of the same reasons. He's been banged up the last couple of years. It's tough, man. It's tough. I think they're going to miss KCP. I really don't at this point, I still think KCP and Kuzma would have been better for this team from a depth perspective than adding Russ. And we'll see. We'll see if they kind of gel a little more, but this team, it's tough, man. It's tough to see, once LeBron and Russ kind of like fade into the sunset, who Davis is really going to kind of run this show with. So, we'll see. Well, it could be a crazy year. We don't know if they're going to add or remove any players from this roster, but first reaction is they look old. And number 5, NBA opening night reactions is, man, the Celtics still look like the goddamn Celtics, man. Like, double overtime game against the Knicks. Heartbreaker. Evan Fournier just pops off. And it was tough to watch Jason Tatum. I know a lot of people were ranting and raving about Jaylen Brown towards the end of the game. 46 points, 46 or 48 points. But the toughest thing really was watching Tatum go back to some of that hero ball in the fourth quarter, man. It's tough to say, but he may have plateaued in terms of his, leadership isn't even the right word for it. Leadership, I don't even think is the right word. In terms of how he can elevate the rest of the team, I guess you could say. Like, you look at a guy like, not to go back to the Lakers, but you look at a guy like LeBron. LeBron can elevate his teammates, with his distribution, with the way he plays the game, how he sort of asserts himself into the game. And I hate like that ISO ball, especially late in a ball game. Tatum was like 7 for 30 from the field. And for all the talent he has, for all the talent he shows on a night-to-night basis, there needs to be more growth in terms of recognizing, okay, I need to make sure I need to make sure we swing the rock. I need to make sure, we get the rest of the team involved. We run the offense. Like the ISO ball, like the hero ball stuff, I don't think it's what the Celtics need to do to be successful this year. I think if that's the type of, end game situations we get put into, where we're relying on Marcus Smart to send it to overtime, to boot, I don't think this team has a whole lot to offer, a whole lot of upside. I don't think the ceiling is very high for this team if that's, and granted, again, I know it's the first night, but if that's going to be a microcosm of how the season's going to go, I don't see us getting further than the first or second round come playoff time, especially with the Bucks who, are going to be formidable. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Tatum and Brown sort of continue to grow. One thing to remember here is Tatum and Brown both under the age of 25 still. So there's still a lot of room for each one of them. They still have not even clipped 25 years old. So the future is still bright, but I really, really, really would love to see, specifically Tatum sort of take the leadership and take his, awareness, his in-game awareness and understanding, how to find the best plays, how to find the best decisions on the floor. I'm really hoping we see that out of him this year. So that's it. That's the big five for NBA opening night. So it should be a really good year. I know we have quite a few games in action tonight. Dallas, we got Trey and Luka tonight, so definitely gonna be popping that on this evening. But should be interesting, man. Should be interesting. A great first slate of games for the NBA. So we'll obviously have plenty to cover throughout the rest of the season on that. But that's a little knee-jerk reaction to get things going. We're gonna pivot over to the NFL. We're gonna go right to it, man. I'm gonna open right up and say thank God for all of you who bet with us last week, because we made a lot of money. For those of you who caught on Instagram, we posted up some of the bets and whatnot. A lot of good plays last week. The Chiefs, Washington football team, Arizona 3-team tease hit last week. You would have gotten paid almost 3-1 on that one. So hammered that tease, if I do say so myself. So it was very nice. But we'll do a quick little recap here. This past week, ridiculous slate of games. Ridiculous. A shit ton of points. Did you catch any games, Mitch?
Yeah, I was a little busy last weekend. Unfortunately, couldn't really do much. I was out in the yard.
Oh, this guy buys a house all of a sudden. It's like, got responsibilities. Jesus. But, man, yeah, lots and lots of points. I'm pretty sure the over hit on the majority of these lines last week, which is crazy. Right at the rip, we'll talk Pats Cowboys. What an absolute heartbreaker in overtime there. I don't even really want to talk about that, to be honest with you. Bucks Eagles, another really good one. 28-22. Bucks go to 5-1. Dolphins drop a game to the Jags, and we'll talk about the Dolphins in a second in this week's lines. Nothing really wild. The most surprising game, honestly, probably Ravens-Chargers. Ravens-Chargers, what an absolute ass-kicking. What an ass-kicking Baltimore gave the Chargers. 34-6, making Justin Herbert, who going into this week was probably like a fringe trying to work his way into some like MVP candidacy, like jockeying to get into that conversation. And Baltimore's D said, "The fuck you are. The fuck you are, sir." 34-6. Herbert 22 of 39 for less than 200 yards and only one touchdown. Pretty wild slate. I mean, the Chiefs got off the schneid, which was good. Minnesota came out, surprised a lot of people. I mean, surprised me anyway. Kirk Cousins were an anomaly. He was 3 touchdowns against the Panthers. And then the Titans on Monday Night Football with a huge win against the Bills. The Bills, I'm going to rant really quick here. I was up 28 points in my fantasy league and only playing against Derrick Henry. So I'm thinking going into that game, okay, Bills have the number 1 rushing defense in DVOA in the league, the number 1 defense in the league against the run. And what do? They allow Derrick Henry to go to the tune of 20 carries, 143 yards, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. So thanks. Thank you so much, Bills. Thank you so much, Bills Mafia. I appreciate it. Not like I needed that win anyway. So, yeah, pretty wild slate. Another good slate this week, though. Another good slate. And we're going to get right into some lines we love because I actually, I really, really love a lot of lines this week. Let's see. So we'll just jump right to it. Jump right to the lines because I'm going to cross over and get right into it anyway.
We're in it. Let's do it.
The 3-team tease of the week. Okay, 3-team tease of the week. Book this absolute lock, as much of a lock as the Chiefs tease was last week. I got the Falcons as a 16. It's a +6 level tease. Okay, so you're getting 6 points here. You're going to get the Falcons from 2.5. You're going to get them up to above 4. Okay, so you're going to get the Falcons now favored over the Dolphins. Okay, Falcons coming off a bye week. Matt Ryan's going to get back Calvin Ridley. He's going to get back Russell Gage. Full complement of weapons. Miami's going to have a banged-up Tua behind there. They have not looked good. They're coming off a loss against the Jaguars, giving Trevor Lawrence his first ever win. You can get the Falcons favored in that game. That's ATL all day. Even if you tease it by itself, that's an absolute lock. The Packers are -7.5. You can tease them with the 6. You get them down to -1.5. I will take them by more than 2 against Washington all day long. One of the biggest reasons why I love Green Bay even more. Green Bay this season, 5-1 against the spread. The only team better against the spread this year is on a bye, the Dallas Cowboys, who are 6-0 against the spread, which is wild, by the way. Wild in its own right. But yeah, Green Bay, 5-1 against the spread this year. You tease them to 1.5. That's a lock. That's an absolute lock. I cannot see Aaron Rodgers, who's on a roll right now, is now part owner of the Chicago Bears, from what I've understood, from what he's told us. I love that line, getting them to -1.5. Last team, you got to love the Pats, man. And getting 6 points from -7 down to -1, there's no way they could possibly lose to the Jets. I think this team has looked a lot better. They've deserved results. They deserved a result against Dallas. Their record is not indicative of how talented, of how well they've played. They have played good football this year. They really have. And I know there's a bit of homerism in some of these calls. But like 2-4, 0-4 at home, you got to think they're going to get off the schneid. You got to think, laying 1 point against the Jets, who just have not looked like they've gotten anything going this year. I love that. I love all 3 of those. I think that's an absolute lock. I think you can hammer that 3-team tease, and I think anyone who does is going to make a lot of money. I think you can hammer the shit out of that this week. And make a lot of money. I almost forgot our little disclaimer so we don't get sued. All these lines and all these odds are brought to you by our friends over at RI Sportsbook. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call the gambling hotline at 1-877-9-GAMBLE. Sponsored by the Rhode Island Lottery, available 24 hours a day to listen, to help provide information. Please don't sue us if you lose your mortgage on your house or you lose your house in general.
Not a financial advisor.
No, this is not financial advice, although this probably will make you money.
But not a financial advisor.
But I am not a financial advisor.
You should definitely do it because it's a pretty safe bet, but don't.
It's an incredibly safe bet. It's an incredibly, outrageously safe bet. I will hammer that this weekend. I will hammer that tease this weekend. But this is not financial advice. Some other lines that we love. So I thought about putting these 2. This would be an interesting 2-team tease. I'm not saying it's a lock, but I'm saying it should be looked at, okay? there are two absolutely outrageous spreads on this slate this week, okay? You got the Lions plus 16 against the Rams, okay? The Rams are laying 16 points. And then the Texans are laying 17 and a half. 17 and a half to Arizona. Now, if you tease them, I would only take them with the tease to really, really make myself feel comfortable. You can tease Detroit to getting 22 points. That's 3 touchdowns, folks. 22 points. And the Texans, you can get to 23 and a half. And that half a point actually is important because now that forces that little extra field goal. Arizona's got to win by 24 if you tease that. I'm just saying, I don't care who you are. I know the Lions and the Texans. The Lions I actually like a lot more, specifically because if they're trailing by 20 and it's garbage time, Jared Goff's middle name is Garbage Time. It's Jared Garbage Time Goff. It even sounds good coming off the tongue. Jared Garbage Goff. You know what I mean? Like, that guy loves garbage time. So they can cover 22. You give them a 22-point spread in LA, they can cover that because the back half of that game, if LA's up 20 at the half, okay, let's say let's play out let's do a quick little game. So let's say it's 23-3 at the half, all right? And if that's actually the score at the half, I will rant and rave all next week on next week's episode. But realistically, that could be a line. That could be a line at the half. LA 23, Detroit 3 at the half. Okay, so down 20, let's say LA's getting the ball. They're not going to stick Matt Stafford back. I mean, maybe they will because it's against Detroit. So that is actually maybe a little bit of a factor I overlooked before kind of popping off like this. Maybe Stafford wants to light them up by 40. I don't know. But one would assume, with that kind of a lead, it's going to be the play calling will be as such. 1st and 10. Hand off to Darrell Henderson. 2nd and 5. Hand off to Darrell Henderson. 3rd and 1, draw to Sony Michel, screen to Darrell Henderson. You got to think they're just going to be playing possession football, just keep working it down the field, and Detroit's just going to kind of be gun ahead and let Jared Goff sling, you know what I mean? And not for nothing, the other way, Jared Garbage Goff might come into this game and say, fuck this, I want to win this game. I'm sure there's going to be a little extra something there to kind of show them hey, I could have been the guy. And at the end of the day, if you're getting 22 points and you're an NFL team, not that tough to cover. I think the Rams obviously handily win this game, but I could see them winning it by 10 to 17 points with Detroit scoring, getting a late touchdown or whatever. 22 points, that's a lot of points, man. That's a lot of points. 3 touchdowns is a lot for any NFL team to win, to beat another one by. And same thing with the Texans. I'm actually less optimistic about the Texans covering that against Arizona because I truly don't think they really have anything that can move the ball. I mean, at least in Detroit, you have DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson who can make plays. Goff can sling it. I honestly couldn't tell you one decent playmaker on Houston right now. I mean, they have a litany of running backs that were great 4 years ago, and that's it. That's kind of it. So, but again, that's 23 and a half points if you tease them up. That's just kind of appealing. Only other team that I was considering was Tampa Bay at home against Chicago. You can tease them down from 12 and a half to 6 and a half. So basically, Tampa by a touchdown. I didn't hate that. Definitely didn't hate that, but that defense has, I think, been a little. I think they've ridden a little too much of the name power. Their namesakes on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's kind of overinflated them just a little bit. They've been a little leaky. Even in Week 1 against Dallas, a little leaky. I'm not saying Chicago's anywhere close, to what Dallas can bring offensively. But regardless, that's still it's certainly not a lock. Certainly not a mortal lock. 3-team tease lock of the week, though. Again, it's the plus 6-point tease. Atlanta, Green Bay, New England. Lock it up. Go refinance your house and take some of the money out and drop it on that. This is not financial advice. This is not financial. This is not financial advice. You shouldn't do that. But if you did, it'd be pretty damn safe.
Definitely don't do that. Though.
Don't do that, please, God, don't do that. But if you did, I like
your odds. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please contact the helpline.
1-877-9-GAMBLE. Anywho, so that's it. What else was on here? The only other thing I honestly loved on here, I kind of love, and it's such a high over, but the Chiefs Titans, that has shootout potential all over it. All over it. It's a 57.5 over under. Honestly, if it was any lower, I'd be hammering that over. Just because like one of those teams is clipping 30 points. One of those teams will hit 30 points. KC can't stop the fucking run. So I think another huge game from Derrick Henry's coming out. And Kansas City needs a win. It's crazy to say that in week 7 that KC needs a win. So you got to think at some point Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey are going to come out and just be like, it's going to be they figured it out game. You know what I mean? And that defense is as leaky as they come. So keep an eye on that over. Arizona might hit the over on the Texans game by themselves, but that's it. That's the lines we love. Atlanta, Green Bay, New England. That's the 3-team tease of the week. Go out, hit that, love it, and let us know how you do. So if it doesn't hit, well, we can cry together next week. All right, let's Mitch, why don't you take us into a little bit of buy or sell?
Let's do it up. So first up, we have the modern sealed wax movement. Now this is like something that's been happening for a while, and TCGs. It's very prominent and it's very common nowadays for people to kind of buy sealed product and just sort of sit on it instead of instead of opening the packs. It's sort of like driving a new car off the lot. You just sort of lose value. So people are keeping them sealed and then selling them 4, 5, 6 years later for almost quintuple what they paid for. It's been super popular. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I'm buying. I'm buying. It's certain products. It's definitely certain products, but I think if you have opportunities to hop onto certain products, and we'll drop a couple here in a second. If you have money and you're looking to get into some sealed products, that you want to hold, let it appreciate because there's, some high potential with the rookie class or things of that nature. I think there's buys. Let's take, for example, okay, just under 2 years ago, okay, 2018 Prism Basketball, a hobby box, you could have gotten it for $300. $300 for a Prism Basketball hobby box. That's the Luka Doncic Trae Young rookie year. I don't think you can touch that for less than like $6,000 right now. Something like that. So that's what, 200x, 20x? It's 20x. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like the last sold comp was $5,200. $5,200 on eBay was the last sold comp, but you can't. The lowest buy right now, I think, is $6,100. Absolutely crazy. It's a 1,633% value increase. Craziness, absolute craziness. So you look at another one. 2014 Bowman Baseball up 340% year over year. You look at 2017 football product up routinely. Something like Origins. Origins is the one that stuck out. Obviously, that's the Patrick Mahomes rookie year. Up 514%. Just about any sport, any marquee product, like a Prism. Origins, I wouldn't classify as, marquee, but like Bowman and Bowman Chrome Baseball. Absolute flagships in the baseball hobby. If you're a baseball collector, like those are buys. Those are buys. You want to go find the Acuna. I think the Acuna rookie year, was 2016. Wander Franco, I think, was 18, I believe, was his first Bowman Chrome. Those types of guys, there's buys. They're buys. Because the better they do, you're holding sealed wax because you're selling the opportunity to pull a super high value short print, a serial number, a super rare autograph. Having the opportunity, having the possibility in the box is always going to consistently, bring you in more ROI. It is, and not to mention, if there's another guy that pops off in that rookie class, whatever respective rookie class, it's a bonus. It's a bonus. Whatever product you're buying usually for 1 to 3 guys or so. If someone else emerges, it's a bonus. You know what I mean? It brings the value up even more. So I would say there's definitely some buys. If you can find 2018 basketball product, 2017 football product, and getting extremely hard now with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson the way they're playing, 2018 football product, very very tough to find, but definitely buying. Obviously, just be smart, find the comps. If you can find some deals, guys that are trying to get out of it and pivot into something else, good holds. I mean, good holds. Year over year, over the past 2-3 years, you're looking at 3, 5, or 10x on the values on some of this stuff. So, yeah, I'm buying. I'm saying buying is a good movement for modern sealed wax.
So up next we have some. Excuse me. We have some World Cup odds.
Let's go through them.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. I think it's 12 teams on this list here, but I'm going to rate them off the first 5. So I've got in order: Brazil, France, England, Spain, and Italy. Those are the top 5 here.
Travesty. Portugal isn't in there, but carry on. Actually, it's really not. It's really not. They look like shit at the Euro.
There's such good competition. Yeah, their performance at the Euro was less than outstanding, I think, and it might be because of the coaching, but that's another topic. But anyway, Brazil is sitting at plus 600 with France. England just below at plus 700. Spain at plus 900, and Italy at plus 1,000. What do you think about that?
So kind of wild. It's kind of wild the disrespect to Italy right now. The defending Euro champions at plus 1,000. I don't know how you can possibly put, England and Spain above. I don't understand. I don't understand. Italy just beat England in the Euro final, and yet you have England at plus 700 and Italy at 1,000. Honestly, Italy's a bet. They're a bet. That's 10 to 1. You're getting 10 to 1 on that. So, I mean, $100 gets you $100 to win 1,000 on an Italy futures bet to win the World Cup. That's not bad at all. Coming off of the Euro, you look at it, they've got a young crop of talent. You're gonna get another World Cup. You're gonna get another tournament out of Ciro Immobile and Lorenzo Insigne. Federico Chiesa keeps getting better. You got guys like Bernardeschi who are great as well. Manuel Locatelli showed that he is a fucking problem outside on the wing. He showed that he can command and absolute control one side of the field. I don't understand how they're not a top 3 favorite. I mean, I get France looks good in the Nations League. It looks like Mbappe's coming back into form. The resurgence and kind of retrieval of Karim Benzema back into the side has made a difference for sure. Brazil, I honestly haven't watched enough, but I don't know, man. I mean, Neymar's a shell of himself over there. I mean, Bobby Firmino's getting older. I know he doesn't even really crack the 11 for them that much anymore. I'm genuinely curious as to what the odds makers, what the bookmakers are seeing at Brazil plus 600. I don't even think I would put them above in the top 5 if I'm being perfectly honest. I think Portugal at plus 1,600 is an absolute abomination.
Yeah, that's a bit much. Let me
1,600 is that's really really tough. That is brutal odds.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really put. I can see it not having them at plus, under plus 1,000, but I would only see them a couple steps back. I mean, there's still. It's the type of squad that there's enough talent there, especially now with Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes playing together at United. As soon as he transferred this summer from Juve over to United, the first thing that went off in my head was, oh my God, him and Fernandes, him and Bruno are going to have a whole season to play together and gel together. And if those two just kind of finally they crack the code with one another and they figure out, and they're practicing together every day. They're playing games with each other. They're in Champions League with each other. They're in high stress situations with one another. It's gonna be a problem. Then you just, you drop them right onto the field in a Portugal kit, and you surround João Felix in Atletico. Looked really good in Champions League. He looked very good the other day against Liverpool. Set up a beautiful goal by Antoine Griezmann. If he can get back into form and stay healthy, watch the fuck out for Portugal. In all honesty, watch out. That team has a lot of firepower. Jota had such a disappointing Euro. But if you get Ronaldo and Bruno on the same page, and then you get Felix back in the mix, his creative flair in there, that's not a plus 1,600 odds team. I think that's an egregiously low odds. Everything else kind of checks out there. Germany plus 1,200. I'll tell you this. I'm buying Italy all day at plus 1,000. I'm going to buy them. I'm going to buy Portugal at plus 1,600. I think that's way, way too low. I kind of like Spain. Spain's got a really good young crop of talent. I kind of like it. I think they're one cycle away, though. They have Gavi, the 17-year-old, Pedri. They have guys like Fati will eventually, be a factor there, but who knows if he's, 100% fully healthy again. I think they will be in the mix. I think they'll get out of their group depending on who they draw. But I think if Italy and Portugal, I'm saying this now, they're going to end up in the same fucking group. I can already see it. If Italy and Portugal get even semi-favorable draws in the group, and this is assuming that Portugal ends up, they both finalize qualification, which they should. I don't think anyone's really worried about those two teams finishing off qualification. But if those two teams draw even a semi-reasonable group and neither of them end up at the group of death, I know Portugal's had it the last 3 international tournaments. I think both of those, 10-1 and 16-1 odds, I think they're both buys. I'm fading plus 600 for France. I can't, man. I know that they're coming in as the defending champs. I can't, though, man. They didn't show enough at the Euro. The Nations League, that's not a tournament you can base. Portugal won the Nations League prior to that, and it looked like poop this past summer. They couldn't get it going at the Euro. They never looked like they were, full in form. Felix was all banged up. You couldn't really insert him. Too many weird defensive lineups with Pereira and Carvalho. I don't want to rehash the whole Euro situation again. But I'm buying Italy and I'm buying Portugal at plus 1,000, plus 1,600.
All right, let's see what you think about Ben Simmons suiting up for the 76ers this year.
Sell. Doc doesn't want him there. Joel Embiid doesn't want him there. Philadelphia doesn't want him. I wouldn't want him there. You got to think, and there have been a lot of analysts that have talked about this throughout the week. Very well could be some sort of, mental health issue going on here. There's something going on with this kid. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to put the work in. It's, he's yelling at Doc, not wanting to do defensive drills. It's a mess. I think the situation's beyond reparation. And what time is it? It's 9:17 right now on Thursday. I think he's traded before the start of next week. I think he's traded by the end of the weekend.
That's a pretty decisive stance.
I think he's gone. I don't think he plays a single game for them this year.
Well, fair enough. If you're yelling at your coach in practice, that's definitely not supporting your case. But another way to get cut from a team, I think, is to maybe take the Erling Haaland approach and ask for 31 million euro per year in wages. What do you think about that?
So depending on who it is, you might have to buy this. All the guy does is score a goal. He showed it last year when Jadon Sancho was there. He's shown some really good chemistry with Jude Bellingham. Erling Haaland obviously is the prize talisman over in Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga. He has, I think it's I forget if it's 87 million euros or $87 million. I always get crossed up with the conversion there. But he's got a really, really big buyout clause that can be triggered this summer, which almost certainly will be. And he's going to end up either at United, City, Real Madrid. He's going to go to a top flight club. He's going to, absolutely command top tier money. And he's worth it, man. He's worth it. He's a unicorn of a talent. He's like a Kristaps Porzingis type unicorn talent, but he doesn't really get banged up. I say that, and he just had to nurse a sore quad the last couple of games. But honestly, I'm buying it. If you're a team that just needs a guy to constantly pump the ball into the back of the net, I'm buying that. Pay the man. Like he's shown it. He's shown it at Dortmund. He absolutely lights up the score sheet when he's got guys that can facilitate and play around him. You look say he goes, let's just for shits and gigs, let's say he goes to United, right? And they sell, let's say United move out, they move Cavani, they sell Cavani, and they have Haaland play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo next year, which is absolutely outrageous, right?
That's like that's a UEFA Cup.
That's a
fantasy
FIFA move.
league.
That's a FIFA like
move,
my
exactly.
career mode move or some shit. But let's just say for shits and gigs, the guy's going to score 30, 35 goals easy. Bruno playing behind him. Back with Sancho's there. You know what I mean? Then anywhere really. He goes out to Real Madrid. Him and Vinicius will carve things up. You're still gonna get a year out of Toni Kroos over there. It's anywhere he goes, any top flight team that he goes to that has more talent than Dortmund, and Dortmund for as many young great prospects as they have right now, it's the leakiest defense I've seen in a long time. That defense stinks. And there's just not enough consistency. There's not enough fluidity behind them. I love Jude Bellingham. I think he's looked great. Our boy Guerrero has actually looked really good for them out at the wing back. Marco Reus has just been just a solid player and captain for them for years. But the quality of someone like a Marco Reus versus someone like, if you went to United, like a Bruno Fernandes, there's a gap in quality in terms of supporting cast. And it's tough, man. It's tough. They chase the game. They give up a lot of bad goals. They have to chase the game. They can't kind of play at their tempo and let him cook. You put him on a team that can, I think he's worth every penny. I mean, he's shown he can put the ball in the back of the net very consistently. He's fucking huge, dude. He's an absolute mammoth. He's a huge man. Absolutely gallops to the ball, wins balls in the air, has a rocket for a shot. Has the ball at his feet and is consistently really, really good with his dribbles. I think he's worth it. I'm buying that. I'll buy that to close out the show for sure.
All right. Well, there it is.
Man. So
Did
with
you
that,
want to hit a little 2-minute drill real quick, or are we good?
2-minute drill. We don't have any 2-minute drill, do we? Do we have the 2-minute drill? Oh, we do have.
Like
we do have a 2-minute drill.
Like
yeah, hit them quick. Yeah, we only had a few really quick
All
here.
right, let's switch over here. All right. Celtics are top 3 seed this year.
Oh God, no.
Nothing dying on that.
I don't have them. I don't see it. 4 or 5 seed.
I believe someone said in the Facebook chat that they're looking about the the top 5th or top 5 team in the East right now behind.
I could see them. I could see them being a 4 or 5 seed. I could also see them narrowly slip into the playoffs. They haven't shown enough last year, or I mean, I know it's only been one game, but I don't see it. I don't see the roster makeup isn't the type of I don't look up and down that roster. When I look up and down the Celtics roster, I see Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Wow, huge height, still high ceiling, still developing. And then everywhere else, I'm like, all right, Robert Williams, he gave you 40+ minutes last night. Can he do that all the time? You know what I mean? Robert, there's no denying that he's a talent, but always banged up, and he's the only real physical big that they have, which has been a huge need for them. Marcus Smart, love the guy, love the hustle and all that, but a total enigma when on the offensive end of the ball, total enigma. I mean, you don't really know what you're gonna get from some of these young guys. Like Langford's been getting some run. You still don't really know what you have out of him. Neesmith, there's a lot of question marks from a depth perspective. I can't see them as better than a 4 or 5 seed.
Sox taking the World Series this year.
Fucking buy it. Give me that. Give me it.
Oh, you're still buying? Is that what's happening?
I'm still buying. I'm still probably great odds on that too.
Luka Doncic silver rookies. Are they a buy right now?
They're on the rise. You could have gotten one for $5,100 a few weeks ago. Cheapest you can get one now is $6,200. It's a buy, and and that's not even the all-time high. All-time high, they've cracked the $9,000 mark. So
Jiminy Christmas.
If you're in the market, I think this is the year. I'm actually really, really curious to go watch him square up with Trae Young, see how he looks. It's gonna be a really, really exciting game. I think it's on TNT. I think it's the NBA on TNT game. So, I think if you got the cheddar to buy that, if you got the scratch and you're looking to heavily invest, I think it's a buy. The pop did just cross over 2,000. But still, man, I know it's a 2,000 pop card, his PSA 10 silver, but I know for a fact that there are several individuals out there. There's a handful of individuals out there that have hundreds on their own, that have cornered a good amount of that market. So yes, there's 2,000 graded as 10s, but there's a very small percentage, a small narrow percentage of the collector population that actually are holding those and that are available to the market. Because population, what's available to the market for purchase and what's being hoarded, that needs to be noted. So yes, then I would usually recommend, but I know that there are several people, several key investors and key card collectors that are hoarding a lot of that silver PSA 10 population market. So that the availability is not, it's not going to be as available as the pop report may show. But that will do it for us tonight on Two-Way Takes. Appreciate you guys hopping in. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. On episode number 14, we'll be coming at you guys next week with episode 15. Hopefully no one loses their house this weekend on the 3-team.
Yeah, let's get by that. I'd love to stick around and chat, but I got a Broncos game to catch. You know what I mean?
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed tuning in. We'll see you next week on